Hey guys, welcome to a new tutorial video. On this video I'll be teaching us how to make this pleated trouser on my beautiful icon Vicky. So the first thing you need to do is to draft out your trouser pattern. Okay, so if you don't know how to draft out a simple basic trouser or knicker, I have the video, more than one tutorial video on my YouTube channel. Just click the link in my bio and you get it. Okay, so this is my trouser pattern. The shorter part is the front part, while the longer part is the back part. Okay, for those that have already watched my trouser video, you already know why the back part is longer. All right, so I'm going to make this tutorial video from the front pattern so that we're going to understand it. Okay, so this is my front piece, right? These are the crotches. You're going to join the crotches together, but that's not the first step we're going to do. Okay, so thank you so much to my subscribers. Thank you to all those that have been watching my videos even when I've not posted for a long time. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. So now this is my front pattern. Okay, now the first thing we're going to do now is to create our slash lines. All right, so we're going to get those pleated lines by using our slash method, our slash and spread method. Okay, so now I'm going to mark 1 inch distance from each line. I'm going to mark 1 inch, as you can see, 1 inch from the crotch area. Then I'm going to draw a straight line down. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm going to draw a straight line down. This is the line that is going to help us to slash and spread this trouser. Remember, if you look at the picture of the trouser, you see that it has pleats. Okay, so to create this pleated trouser, you need to first of all draft out a basic trouser pattern. Okay, so now we've gotten our lines. Now we're going to label our lines 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to label our lines so that when we start slashing it, we won't get confused. Okay, so make sure you label your lines. So the first step is to draft your basic pattern. The second step is to mark out your slash lines. The third step is to label your lines. Okay, so I've gotten my lines. All right, now the next thing I'm going to do is to slash open the lines. Can you see? Now you can make your lines to be fatter. By fatter I mean you can make your lines to be 1.5 inch, the distance from one line to the other line to be 1.5 inches or 2 inches too. The fatter the line, the more pronounced the pleats. Do you get? So the fatter the lines, the distance from one line to the other line, more pronounced your pleats are going to be. Do you get? So now I've slashed out my, can you see? I've slashed out my lines. You see the reason why I said you should number it, because if you don't number it, you'll be confused. All right, so now I've slashed out my lines. Can you see how it is? Now it's time for me to place it on a fresh pattern paper so that I'll now get the main pattern for the front part. All right, hope you understand up to this point. So guys, please, if you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please click on the subscription button and subscribe, like and share the video. Okay, so now I've gotten my patterns. Now I'm going to place them. Can you see how I'm placing them numerically from 1 to 5? Okay, now you're going to decide the distance from one piece to the other piece. Okay, you're going to decide how wide, how fat you want your pleats to be. Okay, now this is also dependent on the amount of fabric that you have. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Now for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to make the distance from one pattern to the other piece to be 1 inch. I want it to be 1 inch or 1.5 at most. Okay, so the pleats are going to be small. Okay, so but I'll advise, if you're making it for an adult, right, make the distance to be like 2 so that it will be wider, so that when you pleat it, it's going to be pronounced, it's going to show very well. Do you get? So I've gotten my distance from one pattern to the other. I've used my tape to tape it down to the new pattern paper, and now I'm going to cut it out. This is going to be my new pattern for the front of my trouser bodies. Do you get? So I'm just going to cut it out like so. Make sure you tape it very well, if not it's going to be hard for you to cut out. All right, so if you understand up to this point, kudos. All right, now the next thing we're going to do now, let me just show you the pleats, how we're going to get it. So from pattern 1, you fold it to the first line to pattern 2. Can you see our pleats? It's closed. That's the first pleat. from the pattern 2, you join it to pattern 3, you fold it, you've gotten your second pleat. Can you see how it is? Can you see how it's closing up? From pattern 3, you join it to pattern 4, and then you create your pleats. Now I've created all my pleats. Can you see how it's looking? Can you see the lines of the pleats? So I just did it on the pattern paper so that we'll see how it's meant to look on our main fabric. All right, so let's go once again. You see the distance from one pattern, the first pattern paper to the second one, the distance I created was what? 1 inch and 1.5 inches. All right, then I used my tape to tape it down to the new pattern paper. As you can see, right, I taped it down to the new pattern paper. Can you see? With my tape rule. This is the second step. Then when you're done, you cut out the excess. Now mind you that when you're cutting your trouser your pattern, the first pattern, make sure you add your allowances. All right, your sewing allowance, your stitching allowance, make sure you add your allowances. Okay, so now, so that after, when you're making your pleats, you know that you've added your allowance already. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So in the first pattern that you created, make sure you add your what? Your allowance. All right, so now we've gotten our pleats. Can you see how the pleats are? You see the pleats? Can you see how the pleats are? So these are the 1.5 inch pleats that we are creating. You see how they look? But if it was 2 inches wide, you see that it will be very more pronounced than it is on this pattern. Okay, so now we've gotten our pleats. Now the next step is to what? Cut it on our main fabric. So I'm going to cut out the excess of the second pattern paper, right? So I'm going to cut out the excess. Now I'm going to use this new pattern to cut it directly on our fabric. Okay, so I'm using an Ankara fabric. You can use any fabric of your choice to make your illustration. Okay, on the tutorial, the picture on the tutorial, what we are using, what we're supposed to work with is a plain fabric. Okay, but you can also use it on an Ankara. You can use a crepe fabric, you can use Duchess, you can use Mikado silk. Just any fabric will be very beautiful for this. Okay, so you place your pattern on your fabric. Remember, this is the front piece, this is the front pattern. Okay, so you are going to cut 2 pieces of this for the left and the right side. All right, so we're going to cut out our pattern. So you're going to do this for both your front piece and your back piece, because both the front and the back has what? Pleats. All right, hope you understand up to this point. Okay, so guys, you're just going to cut out your pattern. Remember, we've added our sewing allowance to the pattern, so you don't need to add another allowance to this when cutting. All right, just cut out directly as what you have on your pattern paper. Okay, so when you cut it out, the next step we need to do now is to mark our pleats on our main fabric. Okay, so the pleats on the main fabric will give you like a sense of direction on how to pleat it on your fabric, so you won't get confused. Okay, so this is the next step. You've cut it on your pattern paper, right? Now let's mark how we're going to pleat it on our fabric, so we will not get confused. So now I'll always advise, let me flip it over so that we're going to see it. Okay, now I'll always advise that you first of all notch it. Either you notch it or you use your tailor's chalk to mark it. I'm going to do the 2 so that we'll understand what I'm saying. Okay, so you get your tailor's chalk, right, or any chalk that you have, and then you mark out the lines on your fabric. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm marking out where the pleats are going to meet from pleat 1 to pleat 2 to pleat 3 to pleat 4. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Then I'm going to notch it. Now you ask me, why am I notching it? Remember, I'm notching both the 2 sides of the front pattern. Can you see? I'm notching the 2 sides of the front pattern of the Ankara piece, so that you'll be able to pleat it when you're done, you're doing yours. All right, so now I've notched the first one, the second one, the third, so that, can you see? So the notches will give you like a sense of direction on how to mark your pleats. All right, because if you don't notch it or you don't use your tailor's chalk to mark it, it will get confusing for you. But if you notch it, you are going to give it a perfect pleat. All right, and it's going to give you your original shape of your client. the original waist of your client, the original hip of your client. Do you get? So now I've marked my pleat. The next thing I'm going to do now is to create it. So from one notch to the second notch, can you see? We've gotten our first pleat. You see how easy it's looking? From the other notch to the next one, we've gotten our second pleat. Can you see how it is? So this is how you, from one notch to the other, just all you need to do is carry the first notch to the second notch, the third notch to the fourth notch, the fifth notch to the sixth notch, and you get your pleats. Now you're going to match it down with your machine. Do you get? So when you match it down with your machine, this is how it's going to look. Can you see the pleats? Can you see how the pleats are? Then you use your iron and you iron your pleats very straight. Iron your pleats was very straight so that it will be pronounced. Okay, now you see our pleats are not so visible here because we're using an Ankara fabric. If you use a plain fabric, crepe fabric, it will be very pronounced. Okay, but the most important thing is that we understand the process. So now the next thing we're going to do, we're almost done. The next thing we're going to do is to just join the crotch area and we're good to go. Now I want to show you something. Now we've pleated it, right? We've pleated the front area. When you place the first pattern on it, you see that it's the same thing. It gives you the original measurement of your trouser. You see, we didn't take anything out. We still got the original measurement of our trouser. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So now the next thing you're going to do is to join the crotch area and you're good to go. So you're done with the front area. Now you're going to do the same process we did for this front area. We are going to take the same process for the back area and you're good to go. So let me know if this tutorial was helpful to you, and if it was, please click on the subscription button and subscribe, like and share my videos. Thank you so much for watching. I miss you guys and see you on my next tutorial. Bye.